Hello, loved one. We're talking about how to transform your environment to elevate your self image. Now, I'm so excited about this topic as I have been thinking about it, preparing for this wellness class and just how my own environment has evolved as I have evolved. And as my environment has evolved, it's evolved in me. Like it's constantly feeding each other. So I'm really excited to introduce some concepts to you about how you can start to upgrade and elevate your environment. And specifically for this class, we're going to be talking about your home. Before we dive into today's video, let's take a moment to reconnect with why this platform exists. Now, this platform is all about you, the Christian working mom, who wants to shed the weight and thrive in motherhood and rediscover herself. In my book, Rebirth After Birth, I discovered something that changed everything. The real reason that we struggle with belly fat and why no amount of restrictive diets, juice cleanses, supplements, gym workouts, or crunches will ever get you to your goal. The root cause is stress. Chronic internal stress is the root cause of abdominal fat and diseases like obesity, anxiety, and depression. The truth is, diet focuses on food, but true transformation requires a holistic approach that integrates wellness principles and personal growth. The real change starts on the inside with your mindset, your self-image, and your habits. Once I understood this and implemented it, I went from feeling stuck and frustrated to losing 8 inches of belly fat, elevating my self-image, and achieving my weight loss goals without going to the gym or restrictive diets. I went from deprivation to liberation. Now I help other women do the same in the Shed Mommy Belly Challenge. So that is why the Shed Mommy Belly Challenge is not a diet, it is not a meal plan, it is not a workout routine, and it's definitely not a boot camp. It's a be do have approach based on biblical principles so that you potentially become a woman with a flat belly. Our mission in the Vibrant Working Mom Academy is to do the inner work to shed the old version of ourselves by detaching our identity from the roles we play as wife, mom, or professional, and get grounded in our identity as a child of God. When you stay connected to the vine and read the Bible for yourself, you will discover significance, fulfillment, joy, and happiness from within. And you will realize that marriage, parenting, and your workplace are institutions designed by God to refine us, make us better, and help us become more like Christ. And that's the journey that we are embarking on to elevate our self-image to reflect God's glory. It's a 360-degree wellness transformation to reflect His glory in spirit, soul, body, style, finances, and our environment, and become an authentic, elegant, healthy, and wealthy woman, so that we are well equipped to thrive in every role and leave a legacy by teaching our children these life-changing wellness skills. Now imagine becoming a woman who is authentic in who she is, elegant in how she shows up, healthy in spirit, soul, and body, wealthy in all areas of life. This is what it means to be a vibrant working mom. But we don't just imagine her, we take the necessary steps to bring that dream to reality. And it's exactly the framework and method that I teach in the Shed Mommy Belly Challenge. So go to shedmommybellychallenge.com to apply and book a call to see if you qualify. Now, I can't promise you that you'll be accepted because it's a challenge. This challenge is designed for women ready to invest and commit to do the inner work and truly shed the weight and become a woman with a flat belly and thrive. Now, God is spirit, and those who worship Him Worship Him in spirit and in truth. The truth will set you free to be beautiful, to glow in health and grow in wealth. So let's get back to the valuable lesson that you're about to learn in this video. So let's talk about what your environment says about you, because everything that surrounds you is a reflection of your self-image. So when you look at what surrounds you, you are confirming what you believe to be about yourself. One of the things that I have noticed is that as I have elevated my self-image, I have also attracted people into my life with similar values and similar vibe. So I want you to understand, like for example, if you think that you're disorganized, your home will reflect it back to you. If you think you have a flamboyant personality, you will most likely have your home decor on point, right? So our homes reveal this inner portrait that we have of ourselves. So if you're an organized person, your home will be organized. It may not necessarily be clean, but everything is going to be in place. I have an auntie we call Ma Kitwa, meaning small mommy. She's not just organized, she's neat. And I remember from childhood, how she'll put things in place and how she kept reinforcing that you put the things back in the exact same position where you take it from. And one thing that I also observed about her was that when she's in a different environment that is not her home, she tends to reorganize the things around her to reflect back to her self-image of organized and neat. And so my siblings and my cousins usually joke about the fact that when Ma Kitwa is coming to visit her, your house has to be clean and organized, or she will organize it for you. And so I have been greatly influenced by her organization skills because I tend to unconsciously clean and organize people's house when I visit. So I want to talk about transforming your environment to elevate your self-image. Sometimes we may find ourselves, moving into a new home, a new city, or a new country. Now, when I was relocating to a new continent, I remember my dad, may he rest in peace, he was worried and excited at the same time about this big leap. But when I look back at my life, I have been relocating since I was 9 years old. I went to boarding school at the age of 9 to a place that required a flight. Like my boarding school was in Abuja and my home was in Lagos. So I think this was my first life blueprint installation that I can survive anywhere. Now I want to share with you this life principle from my life lesson on the power of your environment and your self-image, so that you as a mother can guide the environment you place your children also. Now, my first change of environment was at the age of 9 to a mixed boarding school with 2 of my brothers in Boys Dorm. My older brother was in SS2 when I was in JS1, and the other one was in JS1, right with me. But I want to share with you what happened to my self-image in boarding school, so that you don't joke with the power of your environment. So I got to JS1 when school had already resumed. So I was not sure whether it was in October or so. I can't really remember in details, but everyone had already resumed. So my guardian handed me over to the head girl as my school mother, because the head girl was in my house, Danfodio house. And the house captain and the head girl were friends. So that means the first time I relocated at the age of 9 to a new environment, I was placed in a group of leaders. And the house captain, she was also in choir. I can't remember if, she was a choir mistress or so. I can't remember that in details. But I remember that whenever she was going for choir practice, she carried me along. So by the grace of God, I was placed in an environment of leaders and people who were using their gifts in church. So I remember my senior brother being so shocked when he saw me on stage doing choreography in the middle of the dining hall during Christmas Carol night, dancing my heart off with my white gloves. I will follow him For the rest of my life, dun, 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 I will follow him. For the rest of my life, I will follow Jesus. Yeah, yeah. So in 3 months, in a new environment, at the age of 9, I was not only rolling with prefects and SS3 students, I was on stage. That kind of confidence is forever installed. And even when I moved to a different school for SS1 to 3, I still found myself around leaders and on stage doing acting and drama, right? And eventually, I became a house captain at the age of 14. So, what's the lesson here? Just by relocating to a different environment, a self image of leadership was installed. So, as a mother, once you have a vision for your child, you have to be intentional about the environment you place that child so that you don't just jump from one activity to another, but you are placing that child in an environment to help them become who God created them to be. But here's the beauty of it. Even though you're not intentional, God has a way to position that child in an environment to thrive. So instead of worrying about the child, trust God that your prayers will back that child and position them in the appropriate environment. And even if it's not the appropriate environment, trust God that there will be a lesson and a blessing to turn that mess into a message. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. So once I understood that life principle, whenever I make the decision that I'm ready to up level, one of the decisions that I make is I change my environment. Because I'm going to continue to evolve. I want to see the versions of Sandra, like all her potential, right? That God has placed in her. Like how I upgrade my smartphone, I'm going to upgrade my mind as well. And part of that evolvement will probably for me personally, maybe moving to a different place, right? Or trying new things. And for some of you, that's not going to be the change that you need. And that's okay. It's probably going to be little tweaks in your house, that you already have, which I have done. But I want you to understand that our self-image is being shaped by our environment. And our environment is being shaped by our self-image. Your self-image is how you see yourself, how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, what you say to yourself when no one is listening. That is your true self-image. And I talk about more of that in another video, the truth about self-image. That's why some of you, when you go to a luxurious environment, you feel uncomfortable. You don't want to touch anything because if something breaks by mistake, you can't afford to replace it. It's because you haven't elevated your self-image to have a mental picture of you in that environment yet. And that's why it feels so uncomfortable. And before you know, your voice changes and you start forming some imaginary funny that you never thought you had, because your current environment is not aligned with how you see yourself mentally. That is why I am excited to teach you the skills to elevate your self-image in a way that when you walk into a room, you know that you belong there, because you know that you deserve to be in that room, because that's how you see yourself in that environment. So our environment, the places that we inhabit most of the time, I feel like this should be a beautiful playground for us to practice up-leveling our self-image. After all, charity begins at home. So we can do this by either redecorating, we can do it by decluttering, We can do it by remodeling, renovating, enhancing. There's so many ways to make shifts and changes in our environment to feel like a better fit for you. But wait, don't get excited and go and try to redecorate your house overnight and go on Pinterest and Instagram and start pinning and saving and put unnecessary pressure on your husband or your finances. No. A vibrant working mom is a wise woman. She understands budgeting and planning and doesn't just overspend because she's emotionally excited about the idea of redecorating her home. She has mastered her emotions, so calm down. That's why I recommend small changes over time makes a big difference. So every object that you bring in or get rid of is confirming your current self-image. So I want you to pay attention to the objects that you are drawn to, the aesthetics that you love, to the decor that just delights you, right, and make you excited, because they are speaking to a part of yourself that wants to be expressed. Your environment reflects your values, your dreams, and who you think you are to yourself and to those around you. So I want you to use your environment to express yourself on purpose, to live into your dreams, to up-level your self-image. There is no right way and there's no wrong way. There's just your unique way. And that's what makes you beautiful. So let's look at an example. What does version 1 of Closet Exhibit A say? And what does Closet B say? Which one are you drawn to? Now, I feel like everyone watching this video is going to be drawn to version B. But what do you think it says about the woman living in these two closets? Our environments are like a 3D expression of our innermost selves. So I look at the first closet and let me tell you, I have had a closet that looked like that. Maybe not quite this drastic, but a little overwhelming, chaotic, disorganized, cluttered. And it was expressing the parts of me that I wanted to up-level and wanted to change about myself. So I started to upgrade my environment and started to collect evidence of who I wanted to be. Now, my closet does not look like version B here, like, just so you know. But it's closer to that than it's ever been. And as I have been diligent in decluttering and being very mindful of what I bring into my closet, it's confirming what I want to believe about myself. That I am a woman who knows who she is. I am a woman who loves expressing herself through style. I am organized. I am meticulous about what I allow into my life. So let's talk about your inner portrait and your environment. Now, Thomas More, a former monk, believed that our homes are a reflection of our self-image, of our souls, of our innermost self, and that he could read a person just by visiting their homes. Your home is telling a story about who you are. And if you don't like the story, I want you to really think about changing the environment to match the story that you want to tell about yourself. Now we're going to talk about the butterfly effect in your home. Now, the butterfly effect is a concept that came from a science fiction movie. Now, this man traveled back into time during the age of dinosaurs and he stepped on a butterfly. And when he came back to the present day, he realized that the world was now run by insects, not humans. And so it's about the ripple effect that occurs from a small change. Okay, it's very similar to the compound effect. The compound effect talks about the seemingly small, mundane things that we do that in the moment we can't feel the effect, but over time have a huge impact on our lives. And one of the things that I see with so many women is that we have this all or nothing, black or white thinking. You take everything out of your closet and you just organize all of it in one day. And there's nothing wrong with that. if you get that surge of domestic energy, right? And you're like, I'm going to clean up my whole house this weekend, and it feels good and exciting, I'm going to encourage it. But what I want you to understand is that many of you end up sabotage yourselves because you have this black and white thinking. And I see it around weight loss. I see it around business. I see it in so many areas of our lives where if we can't do it all in one day, we are just not going to do it at all. But the butterfly effect encourages you to consider the impact that these small daily changes will have in your life over time. The power of tiny changes, the power of tiny habits. So let's think about what could be in your environment, right? One of the things I did years ago was to always eat in a breakable plate. Such a small change, right? But I will tell you that the impact that that has had on my life has been huge because it's confirming to me the story that I want to have about myself, that I am a woman who wants quality, that I am a woman who values quality, and I'm a woman who values beautiful things. So you know how our mothers those days, had this very fancy, lovely dinner set of plates that were only used for visitors that never showed up. And it was like a taboo to even touch it. I don't want to be that kind of mother. I want to be deserving of being served on a lovely dinner plate too. I want to be that visitor every day in my house. So what are you going to edit and let go of? It could be getting rid of an old sweatshirt that reminds you of the good old days. I have seen this so often. Like sometimes we have this story that our best days are behind us. Like those were the good old days. Never be that good again. And so we may have things in our environment that keeps confirming that. Now, when you're doing the editing, I want you to pay attention again to how things feel. Does it spark joy? Does it spark delight? And if it doesn't, these are things that just don't deserve to be in your environment and in your life, and they are actually holding you back. Now, you may think that a picture on a wall doesn't have a big impact on you, but every time you're looking at it, you're thinking things. You're thinking things about yourself, and you're thinking things about the world. I want you to be so intentional about everything that you put into your environment. And I don't want you to be all or nothing. I want you to know that it is these tiny daily habits and changes that are going to change your life over time. But I want you to understand with the butterfly effect, it's going to immediately up level the quality of life. Now think about eating your dinner on a lovely plate today, right? It will also change how you see yourself, which is the purpose of the Vibrant Working Mom Academy. How you see yourself is determining your entire life. And so if you want to change your life, you're going to have to change how you see yourself into being the woman that can create that life for herself. And that's why our environment is so important, because they are feeding the story that we have of ourselves. And then finally, it will lead you to a completely different future. So it's like the rudder of a boat. One small degree change in the rudder of a boat, in the moment, it feels like you're not going anywhere different. But over time, it puts you in a completely different water. So this is where I really encourage you to embrace the practice and stop being so fixated on the results and trust that this works. Okay? Now, some of you may be like, Sandra, what happens when you can't stand your house and you are embarrassed by your home and you can't wait until you move? How can you stay positive while being in an environment you really don't like? Here's my recommendation. Now, I remember living in in a one-room apartment in the doctor's flat when my daughter was born. And I made the decision that I am going to bloom where I am planted. I am going to bloom in this environment, in this house, in this community. And by making that decision, I met incredible people. And I'm forever grateful to have them at that phase of my life. The support was amazing. So my concept, is I look at what I have and I make the best of it. And that's how I approach my whole life, right? Whatever I am handed, I want to be like, I'm going to make the best of this. But I want you to notice that oftentimes we think that life is going to be better over there. And then we end up hating where we are. We can't stand it. But there's a lesson the Holy Spirit wants to teach you. A blessing in where you are right now. There is a mindset that needs to be renewed. There is a habit you need to break, or a habit you need to form so that you can be refined. So that you can see God be revealed in your life and your trust in God is strengthened. Because you know that those who wait on their God will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and not be faint. That those who know their God shall be strong and do exploits. So where you are is the right place. Life is not a race. It is by God's grace. Go at your own pace. When the lesson is learnt and your heart is right, your self-image will be elevated so that when the next level appears, you will be a match for it because you are well prepared mentally, emotionally, spiritually to show up and master that level. So I want you to ask yourself, how can I appreciate where I am? How can I bloom here? How can I make the best of it? How can I feel amazing in this house that I have right now? Because that energy is going to set you up to be able to get into the house that you really want to be. Be thankful and grateful for what you have, and you end up having more. So for some of you, small changes may be like, maybe it's painting, or maybe it's adding new fixatures, maybe it's even putting new artwork on the wall. But so often we delay our lives. We are thinking, well, one day when I have my dream house, then I will make it fit. I see this with our weight. One day when I lose the weight, then I will dress well. No, I want you to dress well now. Be that person now. Really appreciate the body you have now and appreciate the home that you have. Because I know that sets you up for more of what you want. Okay? All right, ladies, it's time to take action, not just to watch. What I want you to do is, I want you to do a walkthrough of your home. And when you are doing this, I want you to pay attention to how you feel in the different spaces in your home. I want you to go into the laundry area, right? I want you to go into your closet. I want you to go into every space in your house and just notice how you feel. How we feel is very telling. And I want you to notice what places in your house feels good and delight you and spark joy, and what places feels heavy and burdensome. Because remember, our environment are a reflection of our inner world. And probably many of us, we have areas of our lives where we are excited we are confident and we feel good about, right? And then there are areas where we know we need to do a little work. Well, our homes is a reflection of that. Now, if you're in a home where everything feels amazing and everything feels like it's on point, I want you to ask yourself, is my life now a reflection of that? And if it's amazing, and how can you up level even more? Now, if you go through your home and you're like, I don't like anything in my home, I can't stand it. Notice how that is reflecting your life back to you. It is so powerful when you understand that everything in your environment is a reflection of our self-image. So I want you to describe the favorite part of your home. Just act as if you are the reporter and then you're just describing it, right? You can do it in your journal. And then I want you to list 3 adjectives that describe this area of your home. When I did this exercise in preparing for this class, I was thinking about my favorite part of my house, right? Right now is my kitchen. I love my dining table. I read there, and that's where every evening after work, we sit and eat as a family and play card games. So for me, my 3 adjectives will be beautiful, inspiring, and connection. And it's a place where I get to connect with my family and laugh. And not surprisingly, that space of my home also reflects my values. My values are God, family, and work, which is why it feels so good to me, because our homes are a reflection of what we value. So my kitchen is reflecting back to me that I am a woman who lives by her values, and that I am a woman who loves beautiful things, and I'm a woman who embraces quality, and I like simple elegance. And that's how I want to be as a woman. But then I did the exercise and I thought about my least favorite part of my home, which for me right now is a room in my basement. It's a room we use as a storage room. So everything I don't want to look at goes in that room. Stuff I need to get rid of, old toys, old clothes, I just shove it there. And the adjectives that I will use to describe this part of my house is dark. I have very little shame around it. Like when people come around, I'm like, don't go, don't look in that room, right? It's more like embarrassment. I think is the better word, right? And then it's uninviting. So the 3 adjectives are dark, embarrassment, and uninviting. And I was thinking about this and I'm like, this was a huge epiphany for me. I'm like, what area of my life does this represent, right? And I started to ask myself, the question of, what am I avoiding in my life? Where am I not wanting to work on? It feels dark in there. And I'm like, this is good to know, right? This is the stuff that I want to work on. Because I'm telling you, ladies, I'm doing this inner work right alongside with you. I continue to evolve. And every time I evolve, I discover things that is holding me back. And so for me, that was a huge eye-opening for me. So for some of you ladies, this may represent maybe an area like money. You haven't gotten hold of your financial habits. You are still overspending. You are still in debt, right? You are still acting like you have money, trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? And so this area is dark, is embarrassing, and is uninviting. It's an uninviting conversation to have. So that's the beauty when the Holy Spirit reveals this dark area to you. When He shines the light in the dark area, the truth will set you free to take the necessary actions to get the knowledge and skills about finances, and then you become a better steward and a better version of yourself. The entrance of God's word brings light and understanding to the simple. So this is where we get into the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect asks you to do some things. every single day small changes. Remove one item that doesn't create this feeling in your environment, and then bring something in that creates the feeling that you are after. And then also you want to appreciate, right? I can appreciate the Holy Spirit showing me my dark area. I can appreciate it even if it's something that I want to change. I don't believe I have to fight or resist it. I can appreciate it by opening up the door and being like, okay, thank you, Holy Spirit, for letting me see that it is my financial habits, not my village people, you know. And this is the process that I want you to be thinking about every single day. So think about the least, the area of your least satisfaction in your home. And I want you to apply the butterfly effect process to elevate that environment. And you want to do this every single day until that space feels more true to you and the woman that you are becoming. And then you can move to the next space and you can start. Now, if doing a whole room feels overwhelming, I want you to start with a drawer, right? You can start in a very small area and do this process until it feels good to you. And then move to the next project, the next part of your home. But I want you all to trust this process and to trust the power of the butterfly effect and it's changing your life over time. All right, ladies, that's it. If this video has been a blessing to you, as it was for me, then thank God and thank you for sharing this video with someone else. And if you're ready to lose the weight and begin your transformation journey with me as your coach, then go to shedmommybellychallenge.com to apply today. Now remember, our anchor scriptures to elevate our self-image to the way our Father in heaven sees us is 2 Corinthians 3:18. So all of us who have had that veil removed are looking in the mirror to see and reflect the glory of the Lord. And we are progressively being transformed into His image from glory to glory. As we stay connected to the vine, we will glow in health and grow in wealth. Thanks so much for watching. Have an awesome day. Take care. Peace and love.